Good morning, everyone, from Medjugorje. This morning, we're going to read about the New Jerusalem. This was November 1st, 1989, Solemnity of All Saints. It's number 413 in the book. It's a beautiful passage about the beast, and more importantly, about the communion of saints. Because no matter how bad things are, we're always given the graces and the help if we just reach out for them. Today is a feast of all saints, and tomorrow you remember those who are saved, but who are still immersed in the purifying suffering of purgatory. In these times of the Great Tribulation, the communion of saints must be lived vigorously by you. I am the Queen of all saints. I am the leader of one single army. To all the snares which the dragon, the black beast, the beast like a lamb, and the evil spirits set for you every day. The angels of the Lord have from me the task of responding with force and power. How great today is their heavenly power, because they are being sent by me to fight back. The tactic of my adversary, which is that of leading many of my poor children away from the adoration that is due to our God. But by the ever greater spread of the satanic cult and of black masses, to this perverse and blasphemous action of the demons, the angels respond with their perennial, profound, and incessant act of adoration and of glorification of the Lord. To the dangers which in these times the wicked set for you, seeking to strew with obstacles, with difficulties, and with subtle opposition, the road along which you must walk, the saints in paradise respond with their powerful assistance and intercession. The hidden and obscure plots which masonry set against you to make you fall into its net are revealed and destroyed by the saints who cause to come down from paradise a strong light which surrounds you, to make your whole life fragrant with the perfume of faith, of hope, of love, of purity, and of holiness. The communion of life with the saints of paradise is the remedy which I am giving you against the subtle and very insidious dangers which today the black beast of masonry is setting for you. Against the difficulties, the acts of derision, and the marginalization which the beast, like a lamb, uses against you, my beloved children have recourse to a perpetual communion of prayer with the holy souls in purgatory. This communion of prayer with the souls who are being purified gives to them the light and the comfort of shortening the time of their purification, and grants to you the security and the courage to carry out my plan in your life, which is that of helping you to fulfill at each moment the divine will of the Lord. Today, I am contemplating you with joy, gathered together in the heavenly garden of my immaculate heart, to live this stupendous reality of the communion of saints, which unites you, helps you, and pledges you all to fight for the full triumph of Christ in the coming upon the world of his glorious reign of love, of holiness, of justice, and of peace. Thus, you are already contributing to the forming of the New Jerusalem, the holy city, which must come down from heaven as a bride adorned for her husband. And you are forming the dwelling place of God among men, that all may become his people, where every tear will be wiped from their eyes, and there will no longer be any death, or strife, or mourning, or anguish, because the former things have passed away. So I would urge you, if you don't know about the communion of saints, to read some of their lives, preferably their writings. Start with the doctors of the church. Read Teresa of Lisieux's The Little Way. I would read the writings or the visions of Sister Anne Catherick Emmerich. Beautiful stuff. The Dolores Passion. The Gospels. Get in touch with the apostles. The evangelists who wrote the Gospels with Paul. A great thing is if you can venerate some of the saints through their relics. And a special one is called The Treasures of the Catholic Church. You can look that up online. The Treasures of the Catholic Church, which is a traveling show with over 100 saints from the evangelists. There's some of the True Cross, the Lance. There's some clothing from the Virgin Mary. Just this great wealth of the church that is kept. And you literally come into communion with them. Ask them to help you, because they will. And realize that in these times there is a great war with the demons every day. If you don't know that the demons are trying to get you, you are probably doing their will, because they remain hidden, because they don't want you to fight against what they are doing in your life. Remember the story of the black masses? Well, just in a little while, they'll be meeting again. A lot of our leaders, both political and secular, from all walks of life, will be meeting in Northern California to do a mock sacrifice of a child in front of a stone owl. This is right out of Leviticus. Here it is, Bohemian Grove. Look it up. Here's an old picture. It's been there for over 100 years. Pretty much every Republican president in the 20th century has been there, and some Democrats. And then, like I say, leaders from all walks of life go there. It's a little club. It's talked about in the memoirs of Richard Nixon, in the memoirs of Helmut Schmidt, who was the Chancellor of West Germany. So this isn't debatable. It's been in Parade magazine, a Sunday paper. Trouble Comes to Paradise. And all they were complaining about, this was back in February of 81, was that it's an all-male show. And there's a lot of homosexuality there. That's been in mainstream news, how they ship prostitutes in from New York City. Check it out. Don't take my word for it. This is a picture from their own annals. Look at the garb that they're in. And the reflection in front is a lake where they bring this child in effigy. And then, as you saw in the previous picture, they roast it on the altar, right out of the Old Testament. And the Black Mass is being done around the world, where they do actually sacrifice children and kill people. It's not maybe. If you'd like to know more about Masonry, I've got a great documentary in my documentary section about Masonry and Masonry in the church, ecclesiastical Masonry. We'll talk more about that in other readings. And if you want one book where it lays out what is coming over 25 years, our mother came to Father Gobbi. Father Gobbi can celebrated Mass every year with John Paul II, St. John Paul II, one of the greatest popes and for sure one of the greatest men of the 20th century, who did all that he could to try to stem the flow of what was going on within the church. And remember, during Pope Benedict's time, he kicked out a cardinal from Poland who had joined and was attacking, and he had joined forces with the secular world, the communist world, which is nothing more than an extension of the money changers. The money changers set up communism. You know, we see the church now talking about they're literally doing what the money changers want now. It is so sad. And I personally talked to Cardinal Turksman who's the head of the Peace and Justice, face to face, where he talked about we need to set up a single monetary system. That's exactly what the money changers want. The money changers funded the Bolshevik Revolution. They set up this last private bank, and we were warned by that by our founding fathers. Jefferson said he feared bankers far more than standing armies, for there's nothing new under the sun. It's the same old game that's come down through the centuries, through the millennia. Back in the time of Jesus, you can read about the money changers in the Old Testament and the false weights. It's just the same game being played over and over. I am under demonic attack. And I've complained to Jesus about it, but he just said, my grace is sufficient. And it is. We just have to avail ourselves of it. And that's what I was doing in France on the beginning of this trip, connecting with the virgins of France and asking for their help. Because they will, they do, they intercede for us. They help us. We are one community, not only here on earth, but in heaven. It's like Jesus said, God is not a God of the dead, He's a God of the living. Abraham is not dead. He's very much alive. So is Joan of Arc, Mary Julie Janey, Teresa Little Flower, Bernadette, Melanie and Maxim, Benoit. They're all very much alive, but let there be no doubt. of the seriousness of these times that we live in. I've shown you Bohemian Grove. After my travels to La Salette and to Les Las, I went down to Ceylon-de-Provence. I went to Mass there before I left the next morning to go back up to Domremy, La Pucelle. And as I'm getting off the freeway and going into town, here is what I came up against. Right up behind this car, look at the number on the license plate. They remind me all the time of just how serious the times we live in are. We need the help of the saints. It's a grace that is given to us. And we hear all these excuses from people. This is given to us. It's come down to us through the ages that this is Christ's plan. So many want to have their own plan. That's how it's always been with men. Men want to do it their way. But as Jesus said, if you love me, you will obey me. Eucharistic adoration. The Holy Mass. The Holy Mass is the greatest prayer. And like the communion of saints, it is the highest communion with our Lord, where we literally, not only spiritually, but we physically become one with our Lord in the Eucharist. The power of the Eucharist. Go to Mass as often as possible. Here in Medjugorje, I start out my days early, obviously, here. Then I do a little work. There's an English Mass at 10. I go to that. And then there's an international Mass at 7. Because we're allowed to go to 2 Masses a day. And if you go to the whole Mass, you can receive the Eucharist twice a day. And so that's my schedule. I work, I go to Mass, I work some more, I go to Mass and pray. There's a prayer session before and after the evening Mass. And then I'll do some reading or a little more work in the evening. Then get up all over again and start another beautiful day that the Lord has made. And prayer and fasting. Remember, our mother from Medjugorje has asked for fasting on Wednesdays and Fridays of bread and water. So everyone can do that because you're eating bread. You're just eating something simple. I do a complete fast on Wednesdays and Fridays and more. I do more than 2, and I have for 11 years. So I'm not asking you to do even as much as what I do. But you should be able to do at least what our mother said, and at least like Wednesday, and if it doesn't work, maybe Friday, do Saturday or Sunday. But you should be able to do 2 days a week, preferably, like I say, Wednesday and Friday. Fasting and prayer. The Rosary is a great prayer given to us, a great weapon in this time. The end of the age. And another thing you can do is just simply click send. Help to spread this message. It's not my message. It's the message from our Lord given to His mother, just like He gave us His mother at the foot of the cross. And as this picture shows, look at how she beckons us to the cross. Embrace your cross as I have embraced mine. For together we can change the world. Just like a pebble dropped into still waters. It sends a ripple out in all directions. Be the pebble. Spread the message. Hit send. Send this to the 4 corners of the earth. And remember what my Sioux brothers said. Matakaweawi seen. We are all related. May God bless you and have a good day.